Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the Box Office Dynasty podcast. We are your hosts. I'm Jack,
And I'm Josh.
and we have another great episode for you guys today, as usual. We're going to take you through the box office numbers. We're going to do our first review of our Bible study segment. So that's going to be a lot of fun. We watched two movies for that you guys suggested. Josh is going to take us through The Studio and review that, the TV show with Seth Rogen. Then we're going to talk a little Mission Impossible, The Final Reckoning review. And then talk a little bit about some movies that are coming out next year, some news that we got recently, and then end the episode, of course, with some Seesaw.
It's going to be a great one.
Always
Jack,
is.
how was your week?
It was a good week.
Yeah?
It was a fine week. Why?
What do you mean why? It's the intro section.
Oh,
I'm just
sorry.
making a little conversation.
No,
it is our podcast where we can talk to each other. So how was your week?
No, that's fair. Sorry, I thought I was just being interrogated for a second.
Yeah, oh my God, geez, fine.
no.
You just want to get right into the business of it.
Yeah, dude, I'm all business. No, it was good. It's pretty slow. This is my first week not having school, like first full week of school for this break, so I'm actually on a nice break.
Oh, that's fun. Yeah,
Yeah.
so you'll actually have time to watch more movies. There you
Yeah,
go. So
that's why I had time to watch the Bible study movies.
Well,
Even though I saved one of them till today, so.
You saved one. We had 2 weeks. You saved one of them for like a couple hours ago. So
Yeah, you're right.
Well, before we get into everything we have for you this week, I just wanted to give a shout out to someone that unfortunately has left us, George Wendt. George Wendt was most notable for his role as Norm in the hit sitcom Cheers, where everybody knows your name. That's the theme song, right? And I mean, I've never seen the whole show, but Cheers is one of the most iconic sitcoms of all time, and a big reason for that was George Wendt's character Norm. This guy was just a really great comedian. He was 76 years old. Terrible time, but Brandon, that number is not going to stop following you, man.
Oh my
76.
God, I forgot about that. Poor guy.
Poor fella.
If anything, Brandon should feel responsible.
You think it's his fault that George
I mean,
Wendt died?
he's clearly cursed, and that curse might have latched on to George Wendt.
It's like that curse at 27, like famous people who died at 27. It's the curse of 76. He died at 76. It's my buddy Brandon's fault. Well, so yes, I mean Norm is a notable character in, like I said, in that hit sitcom that spawned yet one of the biggest sequel sitcoms in Frasier, which was also very successful.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah.
I know Frasier. I've seen a couple episodes of Frasier.
Yeah, and there was, I think, like a revival of
There's
it
a new
on
one that's on
Paramount.
Peacock. I think. Oh no, it might be Paramount.
It's Paramount.
I've never seen Cheers though, but I've heard obviously of the show, and I've heard of Norm specifically. I just watched. You sent me a couple clips because I didn't know who George Wendt was. Of him, of Norm, his entrances. What does he say? He says like, "How good afternoon." Is that like what?
Yeah,
You know?
so he walks in and everyone in the bar looks and goes, Norm! He's like, good afternoon, good, whatever
Yeah.
it is. And then it's like,
But an
Norm!
iconic entrance, and it made me think while I was watching this, I was like, this is like Kramer. Like he always says something funny. He has an iconic entrance that he does the same thing every single time. Like Kramer slams the door open. So I was like, maybe there's a little inspiration there.
Well, I wanted to ask you during this part here, since we're talking sitcoms, is what's your favorite sitcom of all time, or like some of your favorites?
I love Community.
Yeah.
Community's great. I love New Girl. How I Met Your Mother's up there. And probably I would shout out Brooklyn Nine-Nine too.
I'm rewatching that slowly, or I have been just like periodically rewatching it. That's a great one.
The next one I'm gonna rewatch is Modern Family.
Oh yeah, I don't think I've ever seen Modern Family fully. Like I've seen a lot of it.
What are your
I love
favorites?
it. Well, How I Met Your Mother's up there. I'm
Love
a big fan. I mean, Seinfeld is a classic of the 90s. Another one from that time period is The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. I think that's one of my favorites because of how meta it is.
That's why I love Community.
Yeah, Community
That's
is
like
a
the
big
same.
one on my list. Veep is a great Veep is a great, another Julia Louis-Dreyfus sitcom. That's a great one. And a new one, Abbott Elementary. That's a newer one out there. That's kind of keeping that genre alive.
Yeah.
I love Abbott
Oh,
Elementary.
how can I forget Always Sunny?
Oh yeah,
You
I mean,
can't
Always
forget the
Sunny in
longest running
Philadelphia.
sitcom of all time. Live action sitcom.
Yeah, that's so fair, and it's never won an Emmy.
I mean, it has fallen off recently. Like, I think everyone can agree, like, the last few seasons weren't as great, but it was amazing from like seasons 2 to like 14.
And it's funny because Danny DeVito actually did win an Emmy for the sitcom he was in before Always Sunny.
The Taxi.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I just
Frank
think,
Reynolds needs an Emmy.
Yeah, I know. He deserves one. Frank Reynolds is iconic. So anyway, rest in peace to George Wendt and Norm. For we will always be a place where everyone knows your name, as they say in Cheers. So I wanted to get into the box office numbers on that note. The box office numbers from the weekend of May 16th through the 18th. And it's been kind of a quiet month in between Thunderbolts and now Mission Impossible, which of course we're talking about this week. And this was the weekend before that. Because I'm going to be really intrigued to see, Jack, how the box office numbers shape out next week.
Me
when
too.
We talk
There's
about
a
this
lot.
weekend. Because, yeah, you have Mission Impossible, you have Lilo and Stitch, you have Friendship is going wide this weekend. So I think it's going to be interesting. But here we are, 16th to the 18th. In fifth place is The Accountant 2, which is in its fourth weekend. It had a 28.8% drop, modest, making another $4.7 million. That's honestly, I don't think that bad for that movie. In fourth place, Jack, I'm just gonna ask you to say it for me, pal.
Chicken Jockey.
Chicken Jockey still in the
Wow.
top 5 of the box office in its
Wow.
seventh week of release, raking in just under $6 million, 22.3% drop. I'm curious. It's okay. It's worldwide is $934 million. So it could inch across that billion mark.
It's gonna
We
be a
have talked about
billion-dollar
it
movie.
in past episodes. Yeah.
And
can
they're
you
getting a
imagine?
sequel.
Yeah,
This is
they're
going to
getting-
give them a sequel. If you do $1 billion, you're getting a sequel.
They've already said, Warner Bros. Has already, I'm pretty sure, confirmed that. Like, they're like, we're doing the sequel.
Crazy.
It's got, I mean, when you make $1 billion. In third place, in its fifth weekend, Sinners, making $15 million, a 31.2% drop from its prior weekend. In second place, Marvel's Thunderbolts with a 48.6% drop in its third weekend of release, $16.6 million. I think, we talked a little bit about this last week, that Marvel is just going to have to accept that this is the kind of money their movies are going to make when it's not a big event film. Like, I don't think they can guarantee the $900 million to $1 billion movie on just anything anymore.
No, and they have some weird ones that made $1 billion, but they can't follow that formula. Like Captain Marvel made $1 billion, didn't it?
Yeah.
And Iron Man
Yes.
3 made $1 billion, and Black Panther made $1 billion. They have these weird standalone ones that make billions, and then nothing else can really touch that.
I think it just helped that those movies came out during the period where Marvel was at its highest in popularity.
That's true.
compared to now.
Iron Man 3 was the first one after the Avengers, and Captain Marvel and was the first one after Infinity War.
Yeah, exactly. And with Endgame on the horizon too, like there was so much intrigue with that film and Brie Larson stepping into that role.
Yeah, you're right.
So I think it made a lot of sense that it made that kind of money. But now, even Thunderbolts, with the good word of mouth, I mean, it's not like it's led by one of the most popular characters. It's not an event film. It's just a Marvel film, and it was a good one. But I'm not surprised. And then in first place, in its first weekend of release, a movie that this podcast is unfortunately neglecting right now, just due to the fact that I, as the horror guy, have not had time to go see it. Final Destination: Bloodlines.
Oh.
First place for a Final Destination movie, which I'm proud of for that franchise. It made $51.6 million on its opening weekend domestically. That's, I think, pretty good for a Final Destination movie. I think it was actually the biggest opening weekend for any Final Destination movie to date.
What are people saying about that movie? Like the reviews?
I've heard that it's good. I haven't heard that it's like great, but you know, if you're a fan of Final Destination, you're probably going to like this movie.
Yeah, I've always heard that franchise is kind of stupid, but like fun, stupid horror.
It is. I mean, because it's the idea of Final Destination is it's supposed to be the most like absurd timed
Right?
kind of deaths that happen. And it makes it like I think the tension that builds throughout that, even though it's so wacky, it is actually pretty done, like well done. Like there is suspense to it. Because you're like, oh my, like this thing's rattling and you're like, oh, that's definitely gonna kill the character here. And then suddenly it's something else that's like just totally unexpected comes in
I like
and
those
and
kinds
does
of
the
things.
job.
Did you watch The Monkey that came out this year?
No, I haven't seen it
It
yet.
was like that. Like people get their head crushed by bowling balls. They just light on fire. A plane comes out of nowhere and runs somebody over. Like it's just so
Yeah.
funny.
And that's what Final Destination is. And I know you're not a big horror guy, but if there's any franchise I think you would at least get some kind of enjoyment out of in horror, you would look at Final Destination and be and like I know knowing you'd be playing that guessing game of like what's
I
gonna
like
happen
that.
to who. And
I
it's
like
fun.
that.
It's a good
Like
time.
if I can have
So
fun with it, I like it.
that's a movie that I would like to catch in theaters while it's still out there. It's been tough. Obviously, Mission Impossible. I want to go see Friendship, but that's something that deserves my attention as well. I'm going to try to get to it. We'll see.
All right. Well, those are the box office numbers.
That is your box office numbers for the weekend of May 16th to May 18th.
Let's get into the shit. Let's get
All
into
right.
the shit.
Our Bible study reviews. So 2 weeks ago, we picked numbers that were commented by you, the viewers, the listeners, to listen or watch the corresponding movies out of our film Bible right here.
Numbers were
And
randomly picked.
they were randomly picked, and we did just that. We both watched those movies. As we said, Jack watched one literally today. But we watched those movies, and now we are going to review them here real quick for you. And I actually wanted to do the one that you watched today first, which is La Adelante.
I have no idea if that's how you even pronounce it.
Oh, I don't fucking know. I'm just,
It's a-
I'm
It's a
just
French
guessing.
film. I mean, I'm sure I literally guaranteed like everyone watching this, nobody's seen this movie.
Oh,
it's a-
yeah,
it's a
I would be
French-
shocked.
A black and white French film from 1934. Dog shit movie. Yeah. We're not gonna give numbers, right? Are we gonna get
We can give
I don't
numbers.
know.
Why
I
not?
give
It's
it
a
like a
rating.
2.5 out of 10.
I didn't hate it as much. I mean, and I'll preface this because both of the movies that we got out of it were older films, which not all of them in there are older films. It just so happened to be the two that we got. Like, there are a lot of newer films in there. Jack and I just so happen to get that. And I come from obviously more of like an older film background in terms of just enjoyment and the kinds of films I've seen compared to you. That's not a judgment thing. That's just an interest thing.
That's just how it is.
I didn't love this movie either. I gave it a 6 out of 10. Six Adelante boats out of 10 because the Adelante is a boat. So what the film is about is it's this couple and they're recently married and they live on a boat because he's a seaman, I guess, and he's working. Oh, well, okay.
Pause.
Yeah, give me that look. Well, what else? That's what they are. I don't know.
Just a guy in the water.
I guess we're all seamen at one
We
point
all
or
were.
another. We all, But so they're working on this boat, and she like wants to go sleep around in Paris, and he is like, I'm trying to fucking work. I want her to just fucking sit here while I fucking work.
Like live on the boat.
Yeah, and he like sends his older worker Pere Jules which is a character to like go retrieve her. And that's the film. The only thing I liked about it was that underwater sequence when he was like kind of under the water and they had the layover shots of like him imagining her. I thought that actually
that
was
was
like
cool.
that was the one part of the movie that really stuck out to me. I was like, especially for 1934, I was like, this is a unique way that they're portraying this scene and kind of his emotions about what was going on with his newlywed. But overall, I thought the film was rather unmemorable. I didn't think it was terrible, but that is also partly because I'm putting it in the context of its time. And giving it that respect. But it was, yeah, it
I
was.
like the cats on the dude's shoulders.
Yeah, I did
Like,
too.
like
They were
cats. And I
adorable.
was like, that's a real cat, like on the guy's shoulders. So like,
Yeah, yeah, it
I was like,
was.
that's so cute.
And there was like he had like the one,
So many
remember when he
cats,
picked up the
bro.
kittens off the bed? Like he went down into the like bunker in the boat there and
Oh
like
yeah,
he was
yeah,
like
yeah.
looking for his cat and then he finds the cat and he lifts up the blanket and it's all the kittens. He's like, "She had her kittens." And then he like picks he's like, this is not a good place for this." He like picks up the whole thing. He's like, "Fuck off." He like leaves,
Yeah,
just
it was
carries them all
crazy.
out.
They like open the closet and like four cats fall out, and it's like, yo, what the fuck,
Dude,
dude?
he picked up all the kittens, and the mom cat was looking at him like, "The fuck?" And then
Yeah,
he
it's like,
picked her up too,
my
and then they
kids were
all
just
left.
kidnapped right in front of me.
Yeah, just fucking catnapped in front of her.
Yeah. So overall, I mean, like, I respect the movie. Like, I'm sure it was influential and stuff like that, but I'm watching this movie today. I want to enjoy it today, and I just didn't. Like, I can respect it, but it's not going to change my rating of it because it's older. Like, I know it's not meant for really me to enjoy because obviously they don't predict a guy in 2025 to enjoy this movie, maybe. But I don't enjoy it, so it's a 2.5 out of 10 for me.
Yeah, I don't think that or Jean Vigo, however you
Whatever the
say
fuck his
his
name
name,
is.
that's the director of the film who was making French cinema in 1934, was thinking about Jack and the box office
Well, he should
dynasty
have been.
in 2025 in the United States of America. He maybe should have been.
He
Yeah,
should have
that's
been.
honestly fair. But and the second film that we watched for the Bible study uh, was one that we're gonna have a little bit more of a disagreement about, which is The Great Dictator by Charlie Chaplin. I had always wanted to see this movie. I love Charlie Chaplin. I think Charlie Chaplin is one of the great comedians of all time. I think he was a really influential comedian, and I think that a lot of his stuff does actually hold up. I think, comedy is an acquired taste. More than anything else, it is subjective, and you can't really argue with. So you either find it funny or you don't, and that's fair. You know what I mean? And I'm just going to preface this before I know you give your rebuttal, because I know you didn't love it like I did. But I gave it 10 out of 10. I think this was one of his best works, and the reason why I think that is because what he was always so good at is slapstick comedy. This whole kind of like outward expression, over exaggeration of physical comedy that can transcend time, because like we all love seeing someone get kicked in the nuts or something like that. It's that kind of idea of a joke. And that was what his big thing was, because obviously Charlie Chaplin was his prime was during the silent era. But this is a film from 1940. So it was after the talkies, became a thing. We started to have sound and film, and people who were in silent films had to find a way to transition over to talkies and sound and be able to continue their work. It was very difficult. Not everyone was able to do it. Charlie Chaplin, in my opinion, continues the slapstick comedy that he was always good at, this kind of stickball goofiness, wacky, over the top, physical comedy. And he added unique, interesting, like dialogue that I think is almost equally funny, and it creates this contextual comedy that is very relevant at its time through political commentary that I think we're able to find humor in today and however many years from now as well. I know you disagree, and I'm very excited to hear your side of it, but that was my takeaway from the film. And as someone who loves and appreciates older film, this movie was fantastic. So come shit on me and Charlie's grave now.
The Great Dictator, 5 out of 10. Okay. 5 out of 10. Not enough Spider-Man swinging in to save the day. I wanted to see the Marvel Studios logo at the front.
It's like there was no end credits scene. What
Where's
the
end
fuck?
credits? No, that kind of comedy didn't work for me. I didn't laugh once. I don't even think I smiled once. But I want to give him his props because I really did not think it was funny. The political discourse of the whole movie I thought was really great of course, for the time period. The end monologue that he has right at the end. Do you remember that one where he's like,
Yeah. Oh yeah, I do.
that was very powerful, and I think that is like why I have it. I gave it more points than it did because I really didn't enjoy the movie at all, except for that end monologue, and I thought that was really incredible. And I also thought it was really ironic that this guy who's known for his silent films gave one of the greatest monologues in film history, which is really cool.
Yeah.
So I do appreciate that. And again, I respect and appreciate Charlie Chaplin and this movie as in its existence, but it just wasn't my cup of tea. I didn't think it was very funny. I really thought the humor was kind of stupid, uh, which could be good sometimes. I just didn't think it worked specifically for me.
Okay, all right, but it is stupid, but most humor is stupid. And like, for example, we like Superbad and we like Step Brothers, and I
Yeah,
do.
that
They're
makes me
also very
laugh.
funny,
This didn't make me
but
laugh.
it's also very stupid. Is my point. Like those are
I'm
very
sure
stupid
if someone
movies.
from the 1940s saw that, they'd be like, "This is dumb." Same way I'm looking back at them, like, "That's dumb."
Well, no, The Great Dictator is stupid comedy, but it's also like it's smart with its political commentary. Obviously,
I
for
agree,
anyone
I
who
agree.
wants to like just a very quick, it's about Charlie Chaplin plays a dictator named Hinkle, and they in the Tomania, the very real country of Tomania,
Don't
and then he also plays at the same time a Jewish barber who was in a coma for 5 years, and he wakes up and he doesn't know what happened because Tomania went from a free democratic state to a dictatorship in that time, so he doesn't understand like why the Jewish people are being persecuted.
Yeah.
And then eventually he becomes mixed up with Hinkle, and they think
Because they're both played by Charlie Chaplin.
because they're both Charlie Chaplin. It's kind of like the Michael B. Jordans, like, you cousins? Nah, we're twins.
Nah,
you
we
twins?
cousins.
Oh, yeah, mix it up. You twins? Yeah, we're cousins.
Nah, we Hinkle.
And, yeah, I'm Hinkle. So I just thought that was really hilarious. Like, it made me laugh. And that's what leads to, obviously, the monologue you're referencing at the end, which is one of the most impactful monologues in film history. I agree. So I loved it. You didn't so much, but I
So
respect that.
You're telling me you genuinely laughed out loud like multiple times in this movie?
Yes, I'm not even kidding. I did.
I mean, good for you. I'm very happy that you enjoyed it, but I can't even. I just couldn't. I
But
wanted to love it.
that's why I'm not judging you any more or less than you would judge me, because
Yeah.
comedy, more than anything, like I said, is subjective. I mean, there is like, okay, you can teach it. They're like, this is what gets people like more likely to get people to laugh, whatever. But at the end of the day, either you find something funny or you don't find something
Right,
funny.
it's just a
And
wild card.
while I do think that it's not as black and white with like a drama or something else, I do think in comedy it is essentially that. Like, you either laugh or you don't. It's either funny or it's not. And to me, it's funny. I think a lot of people would still find it funny today, but
I'm
I don't think
sure.
everyone would. And I don't think it's a bad thing to like find like. I'm just glad that. 'Cause I loved your review for La Adelante on Letterboxd when you were like, I don't think I like this segment. I think it's so funny.
This
Like,
is a terrible start to the segment.
for you, yeah.
A 5
I
and
just-
a 2.5 out of 10.
I really respect that you're at least watching the movies. You know what I mean? And it like
Yeah.
whether you like something or not, the movie is still getting watched, and it's still finding its way to being relevant today. And I think that that's pretty cool.
Right. Like, even though I didn't enjoy either of them, I don't regret watching them. I'm glad I watched them.
So that's our Bible study. Anything else you want to add?
No,
Okay.
I'm hoping maybe next time we'll get like Shrek 2 or something. That'd
Yeah,
be
I don't know
pretty
if
sick.
Shrek 2 is actually in there. I am going to, after we're done, I have to check those off that I watched those movies in there. But next week, we'll be picking another film out of the Film Bible that Jack and I will have to watch. So please comment any numbers. We put the numbers in the descriptions, so you'll see, because I don't remember off the top of my head at this point. I don't care to
Yeah,
check.
it's like 23
It's like
through
265,
1,265.
yeah, something like
Yeah.
that. But it'll be on the post. So please comment, leave numbers, and we might watch the movie that you pick.
Damn right. We ready to move on?
Yes, we are. So
You gonna
okay,
talk a little studio.
I do want to just talk a little bit about the studio. I know you haven't seen it yet, Jack. I've mentioned it on the podcast in the past that I wanted you to watch this show, and you should. So it just wrapped up this past week, season 1 on Apple TV, starring Seth Rogen, and this show fucking rocks. Let me just tell you, I gave it a 10 out of 10. Like the Great Dictator. It's been a week. I absolutely love this show for a plethora of reasons. So basically, the show is about a studio head for a fake studio called Continental Studios. And it's Seth Rogen playing the character Matt Remick, and he's new as the studio head, and they navigate the realities and the day-to-day life of movie production from the business side. And he is like a film head. He's kind of like me and you, and like he just loves the art of making movies, and he wants to be involved, and he's overzealous, and he inserts himself into situations that he shouldn't. The TV show is hilarious, and it's so real. It's like a meta reality, actually, because a lot of people, like filmmakers and actors, come on and play themselves. Like Martin Scorsese plays himself, Ron Howard plays himself, Zoe Kravitz is on playing herself, Anthony Mackie plays himself.
Okay.
It's a crazy list of people. Charlize Theron plays herself, and they come on, they play themselves in like this little meta hyper reality of Hollywood, and they deal with things like awards and trying to get films lit and like on the studio. There's like an episode where they lose a film reel, and they kind of will match episodes to different like style. Sometimes they'll style it around like famous movies like Chinatown and different things like that. Oh my God, it is just so cool and so honest and fun, and the way that it's shot recreates that frenetic environment of movie making and like the business that comes with all of that. So I just loved it. It's great.
I need to watch it.
You gotta watch it. I think it's a continuation of a very successful run of original production from Apple TV, and it's quickly becoming. We had a very short dialogue last episode about our favorite streaming services. It's like very quickly rising to the top for me.
How many episodes is this show?
Oh, it's only 10 episodes, and they're all like, they range between 20 something minutes and like 40 minutes.
That's not bad. I
But like you
that.
could, like, if you had a whole day to yourself, you could literally just sit and do this show in the whole day and just be done. Yeah, it's that good. Anyone listening, watch this show. If you love movies and you love, Seth Rogen and you want to laugh, you got to watch this. It actually had me cracking up. There's a scene between Ron Howard and Seth Rogen that's so fucking funny. It's one of the funniest things I've seen in a while. I watched it like fucking 5 times, that scene.
Damn, dude.
It was so funny. And Martin Scorsese is like so good in it. He's like actually such a good actor. It's crazy.
He needs to
He's
quit his
never really
day job.
been. Yeah,
Quit
I
his
know,
directing
right?
job.
80 years old, you finally found your true calling, Marty.
I do love Seth Rogen.
It's great. It's great. Seth Rogen, yeah, this might be one of my favorite things he's ever done. Because everyone's always like, he's always playing the same guy, like, he's kind of like Matt Remick. I mean, it's not like, like a dramatic kind of acting, but I think he's doing some good work here. Like, I really do.
I just rewatched This Is the End.
Yeah,
and he plays
that
himself,
movie.
and it's so good. It's so stupid, but it's so good.
But you know what? That movie is kind of, I mean, it's so stupid. That movie is kind of similar to The Studio, where it's celebrities and actors playing hyper realistic versions of themselves.
Yeah, I loved like Michael Cera getting his ass eaten while he sucks on a juice box in the bathroom. Like, that's so good.
Oh yeah, doesn't like Rihanna walk in on him?
No, he like slaps Rihanna's ass and she punches him in the
Oh yeah,
face.
yeah. She punches him in the face, and then he ends up getting impaled by a
Yeah.
pole.
Yeah. He's like, "Who took my cell phone,
He's like,
man?"
oh, was it like in his pocket? He's like,
It's his
oh,
pocket. He's like, "That's
it's like that's
embarrassing."
embarrassing. Yeah,
I love those like hyper realistic
yeah,
portrayals of people when they play themselves.
yeah. And I think like it's cool because you can tell they have fun with it
I love
because
that.
they're themselves, but they get to explore like they get to lean on like the joke of themselves, and they get to really explore that. And I think that's I don't think it's as easy as it looks. Like I do think there is a sense of acting gymnastics where you're trying to, you know, not associate it as yourself, but a version, like a
Yeah.
different version of yourself. There's, you know, because you're getting writing, like it's being written by someone, you know, and you have to kind of you do have to find yourself and truth of yourself in that role. Otherwise, it won't feel realistic. Like, oh, it's like I'm Zoe Kravitz in the studio, because she's in a couple of the episodes actually, and she is fan fucking tastic. She is so fucking funny. Like, really, it's so cool. And I was reading her an article where she was talking about this, and it's like trying to find, you know, that yourself in the role so it is you and believable to be you, but also actually making it different and making it this kind of weirder, wackier version where
Yeah.
you explore those boundaries. So
I've
I
always
think that's
wondered.
really cool.
I've always wondered like how they feel about the writing of themselves. Like Danny McBride in This Is the End is the biggest piece of shit, and he's playing himself. He's the biggest piece of shit. He tries to like murder all of them at multiple points. He literally goes off into the apocalypse and enslaves Channing Tatum and butt fucks him for fun. And it's like, who wrote that, and how does Danny McBride feel? Like, do people think he's an asshole in real life because he's like butt fucking Channing Tatum?
You know what's funny is that because that movie came out when we were like 13,
Yeah.
and I definitely saw it too young, and for the first time, and I definitely got the vibes that Danny McBride was just a fucking asshole
That's what
because
I
of that
thought when I first
movie.
saw it. I was like, damn, he must suck in real life.
And maybe he is like I mean I don't know him, but like
Right.
yeah, obviously with that, because it's like this doomsday apocalypse kind of film and setting. I mean like Jonah Hill literally gets possessed and
Yeah.
like starts saying the most rancid shit in the bed. It's also so funny. But like yeah, I think they look into like these characters and they find the humor in both the realism that like the truth that comes from them in their real lives, and the absurdity, I think is a good word to use, the absurdity
that
of
is
it
good.
on the other end of that spectrum of like how do we find that middle ground with this character. So I think it's a really interesting and not as easy as it looks kind of performance, even in a comedy setting like This Is the End or The Studio. But yeah, so I highly recommend 10 out of 10 show. There is a season 2 confirmed, so definitely something to look forward to.
Hey Josh,
Hey, Jack.
your mission, should you choose to accept it, is to give me your rating for Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning.
I accept.
What do you got for me?
Oh, no self-destruction? Okay.
No, it
Well,
self-destructs after.
okay.
This
All
this
right.
podcast will self-destruct in 5 seconds.
Shit. Eight. All right. Well, yes, I give Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning 8 Tremel Tillman mustaches out of 10.
I also give it 8 Scientologists out of 10.
That's a lot of Scientologists.
That's way too. It's probably 8 too many.
That's 8 too many. Well, unless one of the 8 is Tom Cruise, we can live with that. But then that's
we
7.
can-
That's 7 too many.
This is our We'll start non-spoilers. This is our non-spoiler review for Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning. Do you mind if I start real quick? I gave this movie an 8, and I really enjoyed it. I think it was a really good Mission Impossible movie, but I don't think it was a good Mission Impossible finale, if that makes sense.
See, I'm actually almost the opposite. I think it's a good Mission Impossible finale, but I don't really think it's the greatest just Mission Impossible movie. Like, it's kind of different from other Mission
Really?
Impossible movies. I think
Real
so.
like the reason I don't think it's a great finale is because I mean, no spoilers, like it didn't really feel like a finale. It just kind of felt like every other Mission Impossible we've gotten. And the beginning of this movie is like an hour long montage connecting all the other films to it. And I think that was a really weird choice because Mission Impossible kind of has this reputation of being all the films being so disconnected from each other. Like half the cast doesn't even come back for the next film, and there's no explanation as to why. And yet they this as a finale, they tried to connect it in ways that I think didn't really work for me.
Uh, yeah, I mean there is connections because I see some of that, but like characters do come back. You know, the story there is
Like
kind of an
two of
overarching
them, dude.
story. No, I mean Rebecca Ferguson comes in for three straight movies. You have like Alec Baldwin and Jeremy Renner in there for a couple movies, and obviously Alec Baldwin dies. Like that's a spoiler
Right,
for
but
an old
Jeremy Renner
movie. So.
disappears. All the people
But
from the fourth movie disappear.
there's like outside franchise reasons for that. Like that's the reality of it.
Right,
Jeremy
but
Renner doesn't come back because of Avengers.
they don't give an explanation as to where he goes. They just don't have any connection to the past film.
And that's like the him not getting an explanation is a fair criticism, but I don't think that means that there's no connection between the films because Ethan Hunt's reputation does follow him from film to film.
Does it though?
The biggest it does towards the end, which makes sense because as the list of crimes, so to speak, or whatever, just actions, missions, as it starts to stack up, like that's what it's all about. You know, is that the franchise starts to really pile on to him. I I I don't think it necessarily forced, at least not at the beginning. Like that opening montage, I thought was actually really impactful and well done. It was the fact that they kept showing flashback scenes for
That's what I
everything
mean. It
after.
was very
like I loved
jumpy.
the opening montage. I thought was great. Where
I
it
did
was like
too.
the video package where it's like everything you've done, and he's like it's like insinuated it's him remembering it all, and it's like this video. I thought that was really well done.
I like that too.
I was like, this is cool. This is a good way of like starting the finale and being like, this is it. But yeah, after a while, I agree where it was like, oh, this happened. Like they reference something and then you see a flashback to it. And it's like, okay, this movie's 170 minutes and
Like,
you're wasting time with these flashback scenes.
yeah.
But I thought, especially with how Dead Reckoning was left like open in the air because it was supposed to be part one, so this was the part two anyway. Like, I thought they did a pretty good job of wrapping it all up and kind of like, yeah, all right, say what you want about whether you feel it's a good true finale of the franchise or not, but like, I think if you left the franchise here, it would be just fine. You know what I mean? And
I agree.
It would make sense. So I think that works out. The reason why I think it's not the most Mission Impossible feeling movie is one, because of how much higher and more universally dire the stakes are with this whole entity and the nuclear, fallout that's dooming them. That, and also because of all the flashbacks and the fact that they are trying to tie this up, take away from this just action film of like a mission being done. Like it's very much a part two film. And that's fine because it's like we get a lot of that. Deathly Hallows Part 2, great movie. Endgame is a Part 2. It's a great movie. And it was originally going to be Infinity War Part 2. Like Part 2s happen all the time for finales of franchises, and they're fine. So I'm not complaining about that. But I definitely feel like that it took away a bit from it just feeling like your regular standard of the mill Mission Impossible film.
I also thought what kind of took away from the personality of this film is the humor. Like really the third one, not really. The fourth one is kind of where they found their footing of, especially like, to not take themselves too seriously. And you get like a lot of Benji and Luther and Ethan just being, they started to have humor and personalities in the fourth one. They're actually like funny characters and making jokes. This one was probably the darkest of the movies we've gotten since then. And it makes sense, but it really, like, I see Mission Impossible now and I'm always like, oh, what's the funny thing Benji's going to say? And then this whole movie, not a single thing. And it's like, I don't know, it really took away from their personalities. I get the stakes are high, but they've always been high. So it's like, why do they all the characters kind of feel a little different than they usually are?
I guess, but then if you were to watch like a finale like that and they act too stupid in what would be the most dire situation, then you could sit there and say, well, why are they joking around and fucking dicking
Yeah,
off when like shit is really about to hit the fan?
but I just think maybe the humor didn't land for me because this is not really spoilers, but the beginning of the movie, they try to make this joke and it kind of runs a little longer than it should, where Tom Cruise and Haley Atwell are in the little dungeon thing. Do you remember that? And it's right before the music and the intro, and he runs away and he comes back and goes, "You did great," and he runs away and he goes, "But we really need to go," and then he runs back and he comes back and goes, "No, no, no, come on, like we really need to go," and they do it like 3 4 times, trying to make it like funny that she's like shocked, and there's a whole scene where she witnesses him like kill somebody, but they don't show the audience for some reason, which really pissed me off.
Dude,
And
what? I loved that. It was
I
hilarious.
hated that because it sounded awesome.
Yeah, the joke was that, like he's fighting these two guys and doing the craziest atrocities so that he could save her life, and she's never really like seen him do, I guess, this kind of a thing to people before. And I get wanting to see it, but we had, again, 170 minutes. We saw some incredible action sequences with some really cool set pieces. Some of the biggest and most, oh my God, bless you.
My bad, thanks.
Some of the biggest and most beautiful set pieces in the whole franchise. And so I think not seeing it at the beginning to have a little bit of humor in a film that, you're right, is kind of devoid of that because of the stakes that they're dealing with. I didn't mind it. I found humor in the moment, and I enjoyed it. And yeah, I didn't
Fair.
care.
I think I was just disappointed because I was like, it sounds awesome. Like Tom Cruise is doing some crazy shit.
But that was the point.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I do enjoy this movie. I just wanted to talk about the negatives because there's so much less of them than there are positives for me.
Well, I have a couple, but that is for spoiler territory.
Me too. But do you have any non-spoiler positives?
Well, I just, like I've said, like I love this movie in terms of like Tom Cruise's ability to entertain people in the movie theaters and just promote that movie going experience. Because this is the kind of movie that it is better to see in the theater. You know, like there was a lot of really, like I said, incredible sequences. I love the cast around him.
Yeah.
I'm, yeah, 8 out of 10, whatever. That's good to me. Like this is a good movie. This is a good movie. It's a fun movie. I had a good time. My ass hurt by the end, but no, I'm ready for spoilers.
The action was great. The characters were great. I really thought that all the side characters were really good in this movie. Like every side character that we got in the past movies was elevated in this movie, and I liked them a lot better. Like Haley Atwell's character, I loved. I thought she was so annoying in Dead Reckoning. I thought she was great in Final Reckoning. Paris and Palm Clentieff's, whatever her name is, her character, I thought was a lot better in this movie too. And I loved all the side characters. I thought it was really good, and the set pieces are just beautiful. So this is a really good movie.
It's a little clunky, but I like the emotional aspect of it. I do. I don't mind that it's a little less comedic for a little more emotion, because I think a franchise should be like that, especially one that's like 30 years old and there has a lot of, weight and history to it, like Mission Impossible does. So I didn't mind it. I really enjoyed that as a fan of the franchise for the last several years. Like I really enjoyed sitting there and getting to see Tom Cruise on the big screen as Ethan Hunt, probably one last time. You never really know, but just it was overall really great. So yeah, we can get into some spoilers now.
Let's get into spoilers. I think your biggest problem, or one of your biggest problems, is also going to be mine. So if you just want to throw it out there.
All right, so Luther fucking dies in this movie, which I don't have a problem with that. I don't have a problem. Bro. But I don't have a problem with that in particular.
Really? With him dying in the first act?
Yeah, I don't. I don't have a problem with that because it really set the stakes for the rest of the film. I didn't have a problem with that.
Okay. What's your problem?
My problem is that they don't give it the space it deserves right after it happens.
No, I want to see Benji's reaction.
Like, we don't see that, and that's bullshit to me. And here's the thing. They do have a moment of, like, acknowledgement over it during their planning where they give each other a look.
Like an hour later?
I totally understand that the situation is dire. Like, the world is on the line. Everyone's life is on the line. I get that they don't have a lot of time to mourn right now. I understand that. But I still think that for an OG character like Luther, who's literally been in every single movie.
He's the OG character.
He's been in every single movie. For him to be the one that you kill off for those emotional stakes, which, again, I look at it like a Black Widow situation. You know, so for them to do that, fine. I can work with it. I think he played his part well. I loved that final scene between him and Ethan. I thought the scene between Ethan and Luther was handled very well. I just didn't think that they gave it that space afterwards that it deserved between the whole gang.
Yeah, I agree.
I mean, especially
there were so many points where it could have been dropped.
Especially when you consider in Dead Reckoning when Ilsa dies and they give her that space, you know, that space, and she's in the franchise for 3 movies. So I thought, especially for a movie that's 170 minutes long, I thought you could have had a scene with all the characters sitting around bummed out about Luther and then get into the rest of it, especially because they spend so much other time on other shit.
Was Luther sick?
Yeah, I don't know where that came from either.
He was like in a hospital bed. Like what?
Yeah, but underground. I don't know what that was all about. They don't really explain that either. Which again, I don't mind that they kill him off, but
yeah.
Also, why have him sick if you're just going to do that anyway?
Right, and not so it was really weird because at the end of the last movie, he's not at the train fight scene because they say you need to go to a place where the entity can't find you and make a poison pill for this thing. And then he disappears for the final act. And that's fine. That makes sense. This is where he was the whole time. He was underground in wherever he was, Paris or something, or London. He's underground, but he's like in a hospital bed dying. And he has a nurse. And I was like, what's going on? And
and then the nurse gets fucking killed.
How did Gabriel even find them? Find him? Like, I don't.
Doesn't
you know what would
matter.
be cool? In
Doesn't
my head,
matter.
this is what I thought. This is what I thought in my head, which would have been a lot cooler in my opinion. Hear me out. Scene change. When Ethan goes into the machine and is talking to the entity, when he comes out, he asks everyone, "Are you real? Are you real? Are you real?" Because he want to make sure the entity's not like fooling him. Instead, and then the entity tells him we're gonna kill Luther, and then he runs and Luther dies or whatever. Instead, he comes out. The entity says we're gonna kill Luther. He comes out, runs to Luther. And the entity is he's still in the box. That's how the entity finds out where Luther is. Because in Ethan's head, he's running to Luther. Then he runs to Luther. The entity reveals, oh, now we know where he is. And then Ethan Hunt has to be like, oh, fuck. Then Ethan really runs to Luther and he fucking blows up. Like, it would have made sense on how they found him is through Ethan.
Yeah.
I know, it was just they don't really explain how they find him or why the fuck he's like dying. And then they just blow him up.
I think it's just one of those, like, this is an action movie. We don't need to take the time to explain it. Like, we're just going to fucking do it. Which I'm not saying I agree with, but...
Yeah, but, you know...
I understand your point. Yeah, I don't know. I didn't like that they didn't handle that the way it deserved to be handled.
Totally agree. I want to talk about... that is, like, my biggest downside of this movie, but my biggest upside is... the almost 30-minute, completely silent underwater sequence in the submarine. I thought that was fucking phenomenal.
That was, so he's going after the original entity coding in the Sevastopol. And yeah, it's like 30 minutes. It's almost near silent. I almost wish he didn't fucking say that stupid line.
Yeah.
The torpedo line.
Right. Because no one's going to know it's a torpedo tube, though. Like, he's going to have to say it.
It doesn't fucking, like, matter. Just, like, we can see. We can use our brains.
Yeah, when he does we'll know.
Yeah. But, yes, other than that, like, it was a beautiful sequence. So well done. Mm-hmm. So, like, I thought it was really cool because they almost added a layer of like horror to it. Just the
Yeah.
way that it was
The
kind of
dead
filmed
bodies,
and lit,
too.
the dead bodies, the giant ancient missiles that were under there. Like it felt very claustrophobic and dark and scary. And it
Almost
was
got
just
crushed every time.
so fucking tense and great action. It was one of my favorite sequences in the entire franchise.
Me too.
For sure. And then when he gets out through the torpedo tube and he's trying to get back up to the surface and he takes off
That was
the
terrifying.
suit and he's like swimming and he's having the compulsion sickness, and he's falling and they flip the camera upside down and you see him float like down to the ice as he's going up to the surface. It's so beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
And then obviously Haley Atwell coming down and they share the kiss. That was one of my favorite scenes in the whole franchise. Just so well done. Just working on a whole, between Tom Cruise and Christopher McQuarrie, just working on a whole other level.
I thought it was so scary when he comes out of the torpedo tube and his bag gets caught on the submarine and he starts getting pulled down. And that's when he has to take off the mask. It was, actually terrifying. And I was like, holy shit. Like, I know he's going to live because I was like, there's an hour left of this movie. He's going to live, but it was still so scary.
But that's what makes Mission Impossible a really great franchise, is that they'll put characters in situations where you're like, there's no way they're going to die because there's so much time left in the movie. And yet you don't know what's going to, like, they make you worry about it and think, well, how is he going to get out of this one? Like, yeah, I'm sitting there thinking they're not going to kill him off. This movie's not over. And I'm like, well, like, maybe, right? Like,
maybe.
What if they do? Like, what if they do? It is the final movie. So I definitely was on the edge of my seat during that scene, as well as the plane scene in the climactic, battle of the whole, if you want to call it that.
That's where I thought he was going to die. I thought he was going to die at the end when he didn't have a parachute and he's just plummeting towards Earth. And then I thought it was kind of stupid that they revealed. They're like, he doesn't have a parachute.
I thought they killed him, and I was like, that's crazy. Like he sacrificed himself at the end to save the world.
Benji was shot. So I was like, holy shit, they killed Luther. Ethan's going to die and Benji's going to die. They're going to kill all three OGs. And then I
almost think they should have. Like, I
thought they were. I was like, that's crazy.
I think they kind of pussied out.
And then it's like, yeah, he's a parachute. He's literally God, bro. He cannot die.
Yeah, I just think it's so funny that this franchise, in like the first movie, it's like, at the beginning, he's like, oh, a really good agent who's like capable of, really cool things to help. And by the end of the franchise, it's like he's literally God.
Yeah, he's the only man on Earth that can save the world.
He cannot be taken down if he was smitten, like, you know what I mean? Like, smited down, like that. Just so, I thought that was a little silly that he like survived, because especially like, I thought that whole little thing was kind of like, I thought it was hilarious, the thing with Gabriel, where he's like, I have the only parachute. He's like, good luck. And then his head just gets sliced in half immediately, like by the propeller.
I thought that was
and he just
wild, dude.
That was so funny. But then he jumps into the airplane that fucking Gabriel was flying when he said he had the only parachute. And he finds
there was another parachute.
And I was like, what the fuck?
I thought that was stupid too. I thought that Tom Cruise or Ethan Hunt should have jumped and tried to catch Gabriel's body and get his parachute off him. I think that would have been sick.
Yeah, but would he have risked doing that when he knows he had to stop the entity?
Like if the plane is going down, maybe he's like, this is the only way I survive. Because there should not have been another parachute on there.
But he doesn't care about surviving. That's not what he's thinking. He's trying to find a way to survive, but he cares about the mission. What he also cares about is making sure other people survive. So
maybe he does it and then he jumps and just like tries to find Gabriel's body in time. I don't.
Yeah, he's
know.
like looking around, like where the fuck did he go?
Yeah.
But I thought that was dumb. And then he has the parachute, and then the parachute just burns up all of a sudden, and it's like,
yeah, and then he has a backup.
And then there's a backup, but they don't reveal it until after when that guy's like, that son of a bitch, he did it, which was so funny. I love that. Of all the generals, I wanted to like Nick Offerman the best, but I liked Holt McCallany the best. The way he delivered
Is that the
line.
dad from the Iron Claw?
Yeah, that's the dad from the
Yeah.
Iron Claw. He was the one who was like, you gave him an aircraft carrier. Just like the
Yeah,
way he delivered the lines were
His
so
cadence
good.
is really funny.
Like, yeah, it was really funny. So, I mean, I liked all of that. I know some people thought it took away from the movie. I thought it was an interesting subplot that got Angela Bassett back involved a bit. You know, I thought they did spend a little much time on it, but I liked that it added an element of like suspense and fear, and like this, it added that element of impending doom that they're like hovering over the nuclear button.
I loved it. I would really want to know what city she chose to blow up. Remember, she was
Dude,
like,
I thought when there was the line where it was like, did you call your son? And she was like, and tell him what? I thought she was going to like choose to blow up her own son as the sacrifice.
so I choose
like-
Washington, D.C.
I was like, she's going to blow up her own fucking son? I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah, the idea, first of all, that was insane. They're like, we're going to target all these major cities so the entity can't launch missiles at us from them. And then as a show of good faith to the other nations that were blowing up, we're going to choose one of our own cities and blow it up. I thought it was the dumbest thing I've ever fucking heard. And then I really wanted them to reveal what city.
It's dumb, but within the very specific and fictional, might I add, fictional context of Mission Impossible's circumstances, it diplomatically made sense.
It's just so fucked up. Like, I feel like there's so many other options they would have thought about before, fuck it, let's blow up New York City. Like,
well,
you know what I mean?
In that situation, what other options? Like, I would be all ears to hear what. Well, she did try to explore another option, actually, to be fair.
Take the missiles down. That's what she tried to do.
Yeah, at the end. Yeah, so I guess she did explore the other option. But, well, especially because it was like, they were like, well, we'll have no defense. But it was like no other country has their missiles active. They've all
they
lost
can't
them to the
control them
entity.
anyway.
So, and we know the entity is not going to fire before it has the entire arsenal. So,
right. So it's
I don't know
if
if they
really
know that actually, but yeah, I mean, look, I understood the but you also have to keep in mind the panicked logic of it. Like,
right, I would be panicking.
We're not in those circuits. Like, they're panicking, so they're thinking, like, we have to not fucking worry about, you know, if we're blowing the... Like, I can see, you know, government, you know, generals, like, big generals in the military panicking and saying, well, we got to blow up one of our own just to look even. Like, you know what I mean? Like, in that kind of a circumstance, like... Obviously, it's wrong, and there were other options that were much more logical to explore. But it's understandable how these people could come to that decision. These kind of people.
Did you think Nick Offerman was going to be a bad guy?
No.
When he asked for the army officer's sidearm, he's like, "Let me get your pistol." I was like, "Oh, he's going to try and assassinate the president."
Oh, I wasn't sure where that was going. It didn't really go anywhere.
Right, because why did he have it? Did he think so? Did he know that guy was going to try and kill the president? Like,
yeah, you know what else didn't go anywhere? Do you remember what was his name? The Shea Wiggum character, Briggs.
Oh, what a weird connection that they made.
I didn't mind it though, because it didn't hurt the movie. I thought it was kind of a cool little like.
No,
it elevated the importance of his character, and I respected that compared to his partner Degas, who had literally fucking nothing to do in this movie.
He literally has a line where he's like, "I have nothing to do in there. I'll just fucking explode out here."
I knew you'd call it. I knew you would pick up on that because I did too, and I was like, "This is the dumbest fucking thing." They were
like, just say you're suicidal, bro.
They were like, all right, who's gonna stay behind and sacrifice himself to defuse the bomb? And I really liked that they brought back Langley from the first movie. I thought that was like a cool.
Langley was the building. It was the guy who
what was his
developed
name?
Langley. It was I don't know. His name was William something.
I forgot that. I thought Langley was the last name. But either way, that he came back And like that was a cool connection. So he and his wife were like, "Yeah, we'll sacrifice ourselves." And I'm like, "All right, I guess that makes sense for
Because
the
they could do it.
narrative."
He could do the diffusal.
He could
Like,
do it, and they brought him back. Like for the first, it gives his character purpose. Like I
yeah,
like that.
I liked it too.
And then, and so I was like, "All right, that's cool." And then they're like, "All right, great." And then they turn to Degas, and he's like, He specifically goes, "I've got no tasks in the server room. I'm gonna stay behind." I was like, "You're gonna kill yourself because you don't have any specific task to do right now?"
Also, what was his task outside the server room to fucking stand there?
I thought like maybe someone would show up and he'd have to like protect them.
That's what I thought, and nobody
So I was like,
showed
okay,
up.
and no one shows up. So he's just fucking standing there, and then they all survive in the end because they run back. And I thought, oh my god, was he gonna be like? He was gonna have ended up saving the couple. You know, because they would have made it to the door. So I thought that's what it was going to be. He was like, you guys go for the... Like, remember when they were like, all right.
No purpose.
Hey. So then they show up at the end, and I was like, oh my God, he gave his life, so that was the purpose. I was like, all right, something to make it make sense. And then he just crept up behind them in the end.
I was like, why is he so slow?
I was like, bro, how are you the last one through the fucking door?
I know, it's like two 70-year-olds and like a 30-year-old.
Shouldn't you be the first one through the fucking door? I was like, you had nothing to fucking do. You fucking waste of space and time. So at least with Briggs, I thought there was a cool connection. I thought it didn't impede on the film. I know some people didn't like it. I liked it. Sue me.
I liked Degas at first in the beginning of that movie because he kind of was playing a little bit of the straight man of the team. Like he was kind of like the Jeremy Renner of the team at first, and then he just became completely useless. The other guy, Briggs, same thing with what I was saying before, that I feel like they're trying to force connections on us that had no buildup at all. Like them saying he was related to Jim Phelps, the bad guy in the first one. Okay, I think that's kind of stupid. And then also saying that the rabbit's foot that Ethan Hunt stole in the third movie is actually the whole catalyst for all of this, and he like released the entity when he did that. I thought that was so dumb. Like I like that they're trying to connect it, but there was no possible buildup for that. I just thought like if you're not going to do it for 7 movies, don't do it.
I just don't agree though, because I think they found a way to connect to most of the movies. So even if they didn't tell you ahead of time that they were connecting it, I think you look back and they give their logic and it's not terrible. So it's like, okay, that's fun. Like I didn't predict that would happen. Like, cause that's the thing. You wouldn't think that the rabbit's foot from Mission Impossible 3 would connect, but this is still one franchise with the same characters who come back on different missions. And I like that they were like, you didn't know that your actions along the way were setting off the consequences that down the line you would have to pay for. That was the whole point of the entity. I wouldn't have liked it as much. It would have been less meaningful in my opinion if it was just this big bad thing happening that you have to solve. I liked that they slowly revealed more and more that was like, no, this has been following you all along.
I think it's the fact that this was originally a part 1 and part 2 movie. Like, I think in my head, I was like, if they had this movie planned out correctly in part 1 and part 2, they should have hinted at this stuff in part 1 or introduced it slightly in part 1. And that way we get more time to like sit with it instead of just being like, yeah, this is from Mission Impossible 3. Yeah, this is from Mission Impossible 1. Yeah, this is from, all these weird connections.
Yeah, I don't know. I liked it. I thought that the way
because like
they
it seemed a lot of it seemed out of nowhere.
But I didn't think so. I really didn't. I thought that
you have part 1 and part 2, they should have introduced it earlier, I think.
Maybe. I mean, some of these elements, like I can understand maybe the Briggs thing. If you introduce that in part 1, it has more impact in part 2. But I don't know. I thought like the whole rabbit's foot was supposed to be a reveal of the entity. Like that was the point. Introducing it early on takes away from the ability to make it the big reveal later on. You know what I mean? Like I like you gotta have plot. Like I think a lot of the complaints that people have about this film is just plot. All they want to see is the action all the time, but there's got to be plot, and especially for a franchise finale. And so like they need to have reveals, and maybe it seems out of nowhere, but I think that's the point. And you don't have to like that, that's fine. But I like the idea that for Ethan Hunt, our central character, like I said, it's this we slowly, the audience, learn with him because we're from his perspective. So we're learning with him that, oh man, this has all been more about you than you ever realized. This goes deeper than you realize. Like you thought you were just doing missions, and you can go back and still watch those movies and they're just missions. But in the end, this franchise connects because it all led to a deeper, bigger connected issue that ties back to you, that you have to pay for those consequences. That I liked. If there's anything that you're describing in the franchise that I agree more with, that I don't think has as much connection and meaning, is Gabriel as a character.
Yeah, he was like really did a 180 for the second movie. You know?
But I don't even like him in Dead Reckoning that as much, because they introduce him as this guy that's from Ethan's past. We've never seen him before. So he's supposed to be this guy, like Ethan's biggest nemesis that he's fighting. But we've never seen him before the part 1 of the finale. That'd be like if Voldemort showed up in Deathly Hallows. I know I've referenced it before, but because it's a finale. Like, imagine if Thanos only showed up. Like, we were teased Thanos. Like,
yeah.
The fact that Gabriel is not, like, this is my big, like, I only half disagree with what you're saying in that regard, because I don't mind that they reveal these things at the end. What I don't like is that Gabriel, who's such a big part of it and is Ethan's like biggest nemesis, is not a bigger part of this franchise all throughout. And he just shows up here and is like, oh, you know, I killed someone important to you and that's how you got into the IMF all along, and now everything's led to this. I would have liked parts of that being teased to us along the way.
Yeah, I agree, because in Dead Reckoning, they kind of just revealed that Ethan was actually not like originally an IMF member, but he was given the choice go to jail or join the IMF. And that was like a new thing they introduced last movie in the 7th one. And they talk about, yeah, they show flashbacks of Gabriel killing Ethan's girlfriend, I guess, or maybe team member. Ethan doesn't mention her once this movie. Like, Ethan's face-to-face with Gabriel so many times. Gabriel's responsible for Luther's death. Gabriel's responsible for this girl's death. And Ethan, like, I mean, he always is known to, like, keep a level head, but, like, I feel like you'd be like, you killed my fucking girlfriend. You ruined my life. Like, all these things. And he just doesn't have that connection with Gabriel. Like, I feel like they've never really met each other.
Yeah, they don't really play into that. And I just think because of that, it doesn't work as Gabriel as this big bad as much as it, like for the franchise, as much as other franchises, big bad villains work for it.
Right.
But I mean, I love the movie. I'm trying to think about if there's something I'm missing that I still wanted to get to.
What do you think about Grace and Ethan's relationship?
I don't know. I actually don't have much to say about that. I mean,
really?
Yeah, I was going to actually talk about some of the other new characters. Grace and Ethan, I mean, you know, she kind of falls into more of the love interest role in this movie than I would like her to, compared to where she is in Dead Reckoning.
I don't like it.
But I don't dislike that they find that comfort in one another. I just don't think it's an important part of the movie. That's why I don't have a lot to say about it.
I just, like, I can't help but wonder what this movie would have been like if they didn't kill Ilsa last movie. Like,
but Ilsa's death in the last movie, I think, makes sense.
I know, but
it very much justifies her character arc.
But Ethan saying, like, I won't let anything happen to you. Ethan getting pulled from the ice by Grace. Like, just imagine that was Ilsa. She stays with him in the decompression chamber for, you know, however long he's in there, 8, 12 hours, whatever it is, and just stays with him for all that time.
I mean,
like, they don't have that relationship build for him to be, like, connected to her in that way.
I don't think you need to take very long to feel connected to Haley Atwell. But no, I mean, I get what you're saying about Ilsa, and I wish she was in the movie too, but I do think her death in Dead Reckoning is timely and makes sense, and it finishes her character arc. And I think it helps push him into the finality of his character arc. And yeah, I mean, I thought it was a little weird that when he was in the ice, it was Haley Atwell Grace that he imagined and not his ex-wife or Ilsa.
Yeah, that was weird.
That I thought was weird, but the fact that they find comfort in one another in real life, I don't have a problem with that. They have been through a lot, and I think it makes sense that they would take to one another, because who else do they have?
I did really think Julia was going to show up at some point in this movie, just because they did mention her actually more than they've really ever mentioned her in the last couple movies. You know what I mean? Like, she shows up in the 6th one, and I thought that I guess that was her send-off, but
that was kind of the send-off.
I really would have liked to see her, maybe her and Ethan get together. Like, I don't know. It just would have been nice.
I don't know. That would have just felt shoehorned, don't
You
you
think
think?
so?
I think
I
so.
don't know.
I like some of the new characters I wanted to bring up. I
I do
thought
too.
the two Apple TV actors that they took. You have Hannah Waddingham and Tremel Tillman,
Who's
who
Hannah
are
Waddingham?
she's Rebecca Welton on Ted Lasso. She's the owner of the team. Oh, well, who is she in
Yeah.
Mission Impossible? You meant she's the that colonel, the blonde one that he
Oh, I
goes
liked
to
her.
get the sub.
I liked her, and I loved the submarine guy. The
Yeah,
other guy you're
Tremel
talking about.
Tillman, who is Seth Milchick on Severance. It was awesome to see him in this movie. I thought he was a fantastic addition. I thought they both were.
Dude,
But yeah, I really enjoyed. It was weird hearing Hannah Waddingham with an American accent, for sure.
What did he say to Ethan? He said he had this really great line where he was like, "If you're here to make the Russians' life a living hell."
Oh no,
What
he
did he say?
said, "Sir, if you want to." Oh no, he goes, "Mister, if you want to poke the bear, you're in the right place."
I
And
love
I was
that
like,
line. Dude. He's like,
dude,
if you're here to poke the bear, you came to the right
you came
place.
to the right place. I was like, dude, that's fucking awesome.
It was
I wish he
really
was in
cool.
more of the movies.
I do too.
I am rooting for Tremel Tillman to have a long and successful career. He
I-
is phenomenal.
He was great. I loved the whole submarine crew. I really did. I thought in their very small amount of screen, like even the girl who's like, "I'm gonna want that suit back. Like, don't ruin my suit." I thought she
yeah,
was cool.
she's in Love Lies Bleeding. What was her name? It's Katie O'Brien.
I liked her.
She's Katie O'Brien. She's in Love Lies Bleeding. That's where I got introduced to her. She's really good. I didn't know she was in this. Like, I knew Tremel Tillman and Hannah Waddingham. I didn't know she was, so that was a fun surprise.
The fight scene on the submarine was awesome too, and Ethan's on the treadmill, and the guy comes up behind him.
Yeah, and that's at the same time that the other fight's going on.
Which one?
I'm trying to
Oh,
remember.
the one in
I'm trying to remember.
the one in
It's-
Russia. It's all the people in the little house together.
Yes. Yeah. The one in yes. When they're in the cabin, we're in the cabin. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, like St.
Yeah,
Matthew's
that
Island.
was well done. That was very tense.
I really liked though
Yeah,
when he's
yep.
on the treadmill and the guy attacks him, and Ethan Hunt, his mentality is so great because he's like, he knows he can win, and he gets knocked off the treadmill, whatever, and he goes, wait, what is this? And he just asks the guy, he's like trying to talk to the guy, he's like, what are you doing? Like, what's going on? And the guy's like, I can't let you win. He's like, come on, guy, let's just talk. And the way he goes about like all these situations, I just love his character.
Yeah, that's great. So, the last thing I wanted to say, and then I think we should throw some rankings out here for Mission Impossible.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure this is the only Mission Impossible film where they don't explicitly say your mission should you choose to accept it. And that made me very sad.
I kind of liked it.
No, I didn't like it. I thought how are you not going to say that? That's the iconic line.
I
And you're
know,
not
but
gonna
in
have
my
it in the last
head,
movie.
I was like, Ethan doesn't have a choice for this one. Like this whole movie is like, you are the only man who can do this. I know every movie's kind of like that, but this is like, this is the last one. You are the only man to do this. There is no choice whether you accept it or not. You have to do this. And I like that. For the last one, they were like, there is no choice. You are Ethan Hunt. You're doing it.
Well, then I really would have been like your mission that you have no choice to, like something. Like it felt weird that it was just completely
Your mission that you
devoid.
will do.
Yeah,
you will
like
accept.
it felt weird
Yeah, I
that
get
it was
that. I get
completely
that.
like devoid of that when it's such an iconic line in the franchise. It was just weird that it was like weird that they wouldn't have that in the franchise that is devoid of it in the last one when they say, or any version of it when they're always saying it. So I don't know.
Yeah, I get that.
That's like
It's like in Star Wars, I guess, if they don't say like, I have a bad feeling about this. You know?
or like if Star Wars like didn't start with a long time ago in a galaxy far away, like that would just be weird,
Yeah.
you know? Like you would just feel like it's missing.
That would
like
piss
it's like a
people
key
off.
element that's missing. So,
Right. Like it didn't bother me, but I understand.
like
why it
especially
would bother
like
people.
Angela Bassett's pleading for him to come back, you would think she'd be like, your mission that we beg you to accept or some shit. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
you
Your
could
mission,
have
please accept it. We need you.
please like or we'll all fucking die. So yeah.
You want to get into our rankings?
Yeah, let's give some rankings on this franchise, man. So how should we decide?
I was gonna say, do you want to go back and forth? Like last place, and we both do last place.
Oh,
Like
we don't
something like
usually
that.
do it like that, but I mean, I don't mind.
I figured since there's only 8 of them and we have the same ones, like it might be interesting.
Okay, sure. All right. Well, who goes first though?
Uh, I think we have one guy who can decide that.
Neither of us can. Everyone, you know him, you love him. Please give a round of applause for Martin Van Buren, baby.
I was gonna say the Martin Scorsese coin for a second.
The Martin Scorsese
'Cause we're just
coin.
talking about him.
Yeah, man. This coin's been on the studio.
Hmm.
Oh wait, no one called anything. Well, I haven't looked at it yet.
No, you gotta call
You call
call
it. No, you call it.
heads.
All right. It is heads. You go first.
All right, I'll go first. All right, so here is our rankings of the Mission Impossible series after seeing Dead Reckoning. In 8th place, I have Mission Impossible 2.
In 8th place, I have Mission Impossible 2.
Makes
Yeah,
sense.
yeah,
We're gonna
yeah.
snake it, so then you do 7th.
Oh, okay. In 7th, I have Mission Impossible 3.
In 7th, I have the first Mission Impossible. I know that's gonna be a big point of contention. 6th place, I have Mission Impossible 3.
In 6th place, I have Mission Impossible Ghost Protocol.
Dude. Okay, we'll talk about the lists after.
Oh, we both keep forgetting about the fucking
Yeah.
snake. In 5th place, I have Mission Impossible Rogue Nation.
I also have Rogue Nation in 5th. In 4th, I have The Final Reckoning.
In 4th, I have Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning.
Okay.
Oh my god. And 3rd, I have Mission Impossible The Final Reckoning.
Okay, so we have them switched because in 3rd, I have Dead Reckoning.
Okay.
And
yeah,
then
so we
second-
basically.
Yeah, they're basically tied for me, but
Yeah.
in 2nd place, I have Ghost Protocol.
Interesting. That's funny because in 2nd, I have the original Mission Impossible. So the
funny.
two on our list that are kind of a point of contention,
those-
as you've
yeah.
said, are very polar opposites. And then in 1st place, which we both have the same, we both think are the
course.
best, Mission Impossible Fallout.
Of course, you can't get better than Fallout.
That is the ultimate Mission Impossible movie for
Dude,
sure.
you really don't like Ghost Protocol as much as like that's so. Dude, the whole Dubai sequence, I can't.
I
hype
mean
it
that
enough.
Dubai is great alone on its own, but that movie to me just felt a little weirder and like is a little less memorable. And then it like ends with that that's when that ends with the bomb sequence when they're in, oh no that's Rogue Nation I think. But either way, yeah, I don't know. There's no Luther in that one, which it's almost
No.
worse. It's almost worse though because he does show up at the end, and it's like
Yeah, I
you
know.
could have had Luther, but you didn't. It's like why not? He's here.
Right. And
Where was he?
I will give you credit. I will give you credit that it also has the weakest villain of the more recent ones. Like who the hell remembers Kurt Hendricks?
Yeah. Yeah, I agree.
Like
I
it's
don't
no
know.
Solomon Lane. It's no Owen Davian.
Yeah, it's certainly no entity. You know.
Right. It's no entity. So I do agree. Ghost Protocol has the worst villain, but I just love the whole Dubai sequence is the best sequence in the whole franchise for me. So I can't help but make it my second favorite.
See,
movie.
versus the first one, I really like a lot because I love Brian De Palma. I love his style on this. I love the introduction of a young Ethan Hunt. I like the story of like a mole, a rat kind of in the team trying to find out like, you know, who's betrayed him, who's not. I thought it was a really cool spy CIA thriller. And like, that's what Mission Impossible is. And so I
And
really
the
like
Langley
that movie.
heist is great too.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That scene when he drops in is still probably like that's probably the most like iconic Mission Impossible scene in terms of like it. What most people would picture when they picture Mission Impossible is they picture Tom Cruise like coming down into that vault and stealing the coding and the knife falling down onto the table. Like that's what most people picture. I feel like.
What is your favorite stunt of the franchise?
I mean, probably when he rode the bike off the mountain in Dead Reckoning. I think that was the
okay.
craziest stunt I've seen him do. Like that to me was because that's like one of the craziest I think he's actually done. Also
love the hanging off the plane.
The Halo jump in Fallout is one of my favorites. I love
One
the
of,
Halo jump in Fallout.
of course, I love the climbing of the Burj Khalifa in Ghost Protocol, but I also love in Rogue Nation the hanging off the plane at the beginning of the movie.
Yeah, that's a good one too. That's a good
Yeah,
one
and then
too.
this movie had great ones. Everything underwater was amazing. Of
Yeah,
course, the final
the
biplane
final
fight.
was great. Yeah. So, um, yeah, I'd say the Halo jump's my favorite actually. Now that I
Yeah,
think
but
about
you
it,
know,
but
to wrap up our Mission Impossible talk, the movie's great. Go see it. I know I shit on it a lot, but just because it's hard to say all the amazing things about it, I think it's a great movie. The stunts are great, the acting's great, the characters are great, and it's a send off. And you know, if you like Mission Impossible, you're gonna like this movie, I think. Or you might hate it because it's a very divided movie, I think, among the fans. But I liked it.
I think most people like it. I think some critics were harsh on it, and that's why some people were skeptical going into it. But I think so far it's overwhelmingly like enjoyed by fans. I don't think most people. I don't think it's like their favorite, but I think everyone is satisfied with the film. And Tom Cruise deserves a lot of credit. He is 63 years old, or he's going to be at
Insane.
least, and he's doing the craziest things to entertain us. You know, you have Top Gun, you have Mission Impossible. This is a man who cares about, who genuine, like, look, criticize Tom Cruise for a lot, all you want, and you can. Scientology. But this man cares about the health and the life of the movie going experience and wants that to keep going and wants to do everything he can to entertain audiences. He cares about that, and I respect that about him. He is one of the biggest and best movie stars that we have. For that reason, he's like the president of movies.
And right before stunts get added to the Oscars too. It's kind of
Yeah, I
sad.
know. Next year, not next Oscars, but the next Oscar cycle.
Yeah, it's kind of sad.
Which is funny we mentioned that because just a shout out, the Cannes Film Festival has been going on in Venice, and that is kind of the beginning of this, like where a bunch of films that are coming out get debuted. So just shouting out that that's happening right now on our film podcast. And so
Yeah.
a lot of what comes out of the Cannes Film Festival, we'll be keeping our eyes on for the Oscars coming up in the next several months here as we get through the summer and the fall and into Oscar season. On that note, I wanted to talk one more thing on this episode with you today, Jack, and that's just quickly about Avengers Doomsday. Got delayed by a few months next year to December 18th, 2026, which is the same day that Dune Messiah is slated to come out currently. So Avengers Doomsday and Dune Messiah are now slated in the holiday season, no less, to go head to head. I wanted to get your thoughts because that's going to be, if they stay on the same date, that Doomsday has a chance to be bigger than the shirt that I'm literally wearing now, Barbenheimer. Like
Oh,
that.
you got your Barbenheimer shirt on.
Like that, but Doomsday has a chance to be bigger.
Yeah, it probably will be bigger. I think it's gonna hurt Dune a lot. Like I think Dune is gonna be a better movie, and it sucks that I'm very excited for Doomsday. Don't get me wrong, but it sucks that I feel like it's gonna hurt Dune's box office.
I think it's going to hurt Dune's overall box office globally. I think though that Avengers Doomsday is not going to have as big of an opening weekend. It might still be number one. I'm not going to say it won't. But I'm thinking because of Dune Messiah, it's not going to have as big of an opening weekend as it's going to expect. Because I won't downplay the amount of people in the United States that are going to go see Dune Messiah before they see Avengers Doomsday. And again, worldwide and overall box office run, there's almost no doubt that Doomsday will finish with a higher total than Dune Messiah. But opening weekend, I think it's going to be a little closer in the domestically than people are going to give Dune credit for.
I also think there's a chance that they switch the dates. I think Disney could be like, oh, fuck this. We're making our release date February of 2027 or something like that. Like, they just might do that instead.
I just hope that Dune doesn't move its date to 2027 because of Doomsday, because I'm way more excited for Dune than Doomsday. And I would definitely be very disappointed if Dune got delayed because they were scared to go against Doomsday because Doomsday took its date. I would
But
not
they
be
should
happy.
be scared. Like, I think if anyone's going to move their date, I know I use Disney, but, like, I think Dune is
I
going to be the one
I
to end up
don't
changing.
think I don't think uh I think a lot of people though would agree that Dune is probably going to be a better movie though. So like
Yeah.
I don't know if Dune has to worry all that much.
But Doomsday has
It's
the bigger audience.
you know what though, at the end of the day, I think what's going to happen is it's going to be another Barbenheimer situation. I think
Hmm.
both are going to make a tremendous amount of money. I think the fact that they'll come out on the same day, and again, this is assuming that they stay the same release date, of course.
Right. You never know.
But I think that the fact that both are going to be coming out on the same day is going to help each other actually, because the marketing is going to be bigger. And I think
Hmm.
Doomsday is going to be the much bigger box office success, but Dune is going to get the critical and accolades, like the critical appraise and the accolades,
I
because
agree with that.
I think that Dune Messiah is going to get its recognition at the Oscars that year finally, because the first two, well, the first one won like 10 or whatever, all the like under the belt, technical ones. And the second one did worse, even though it was a better movie. But both have been nominated for Best Picture. The third one likely will be too. And I think there's a chance it's like Lord of the Rings, where they give the third one the credit for the franchise. And so I think they're both, like I said, they're both going to make a lot of money. I think Doomsday's obviously going to make more money. But I think that Dune Messiah is going to get that critical appraise, and Doomsday might be a liked movie too, but I don't think it's going to be better. And I think that
No.
Dune is going to have the accolades at the end of the day that Doomsday's definitely not going to get, no matter
I
what.
think that is the most likely scenario.
So I don't know that Dune Messiah has to be scared, because I think they still, like, Oppenheimer made almost $1 billion and it came out the same day as Barbie. That's crazy. I think you'll get a similar
Yeah.
situation if the two stay on the same release date, and I think they know that they can do that too.
Yeah, that's fair. That's a fair assumption. You wanna wrap this episode up with some seesaw?
Let's do it. All right. Well, you went first for the lists, so I'll go first for Seesaw.
Take it away.
Something that I saw recently is the film Zero Dark 30 by Catherine Bigelow. This came out in 2012. It's a film about the 10-year-long manhunt of Osama bin Laden and the eventual capture and execution of bin Laden. I've seen two other Catherine Bigelow movies before, Detroit and Strange Days. And the reason why I bring that up is because I think she's very good at these kind of politically driven tension thrillers. And I thought it was really well made. I loved the action. Greg Fraser was the cinematographer who has done work on Dune and the Batman. Like, that guy, he is the elite cinematographer. And I thought it was a really great film, and it was very well made, and it was from a time in our lives where Americans were much more united. Like, remember that time after bin Laden was killed and everyone was just together? Like, it brought
Yeah.
back those kinds of memories. Feels like a different world. So I thought that was a really cool film, one that I wanted to share on the pod. And then something I want to see, we spoke a lot about Mission Impossible today. And something that, I don't know if you knew this, but you probably do, is that Mission Impossible is based off of a TV series from like the 60s. So for something I want to see is that Mission Impossible original TV series. I think it'd be really cool to see the source material that inspired the Tom Cruise films that we've come to know and love and talk about here on the podcast. So Zero Dark 30 and the Mission Impossible series. Some things going on here.
I'd like to see both of those. I've never seen either. For my seesaw, something I saw recently was Lilo and Stitch, the original. I rewatched it. That movie's fucking phenomenal, man. The original Lilo and Stitch is so heartfelt. It's so colorful. The music is so good. Ohana means family, brother. Like it's so good. Um, and something I want to see, is the new Lilo and Stitch that's coming out or just came out. I don't really want to see it, but I'm going to. And the only reason I really want to see it is because I've heard it's so drastically different, and I want to know what changes they've made. Uh, One of my favorite parts about the original movie is that there's no unlikable characters. The bad guys aren't really bad guys. They're just the government trying to control what they think is a monster in Stitch. And then it turns out Stitch is good, and then they go, okay, we're all friends now. Like, there's no bad guys. Jumba is a mad scientist, and even he like becomes part of the family at the end. He's like a psycho Russian scientist. And then they cast Zach Galifianakis for him. And they make him human the whole movie, apparently, in this movie, or most of the movie. And it's just so weird to go stray that far from the source material. Captain Gantu is like the third act antagonist of the original movie. He's not even in the new movie. So I don't know what they're doing.
Yeah, that's weird.
Yeah, he's the whole third act is Captain Gantu comes and he kidnaps Stitch and Lilo. Stitch escapes. Lilo's in the ship, and they have the whole ship flying over Hawaii fight, the chase scene.
It's great.
And it's great. And they literally admitted that he would be too hard to do live action because of the CGI. So they were like, we're going to do something different.
Which I think is ridiculous, because why are you doing the live action if you don't think you can do the whole movie?
That's what bothers me, especially since that's the whole third act. Like, that's literally what it is. So I want to see it just to see what kind of monstrosity they've created. I also saw this really funny thing that was like, why didn't this movie come out June 26th when the whole thing is like, he's Experiment 626? And like, just bad marketing for this movie or whatever.
Well, I think the marketing for the movie's actually been pretty good, but I agree that the date coming out, that would have been fun. Like 626 would have made a lot of sense.
But yeah, that's like when Star Wars releases all their new stuff on May 4th. You know,
they always at least they always release something.
Yeah, like Tales of the Underworld. Every Tales series, I think, has come out on May 4th for the last 3 years.
I'm interested. The only reason I'm kind of interested in the Lilo and Stitch, because you know me, we talked about it when we started this podcast with Snow White. I don't really do the Disney live actions. I'm not into it. I think they're lifeless. I think they're cheap and cash grabs, and I don't want to. Or not want to even. I just don't care about them. But the director of this one is Dean Fleischer Camp. He did Marcel the Shell with Shoes On, which was one of the most just emotional and like one of the best animated movies I've seen in a while. I loved it. Marcel the Shell is the cutest little guy. Fucking great little fucker. Wow. I love that guy. So that inspires me to maybe go see it. You should see that. That should be on your C. That's a good movie.
It's on my list.
Yeah, that's a reason why.
I just want to see it because I just want to be someone else who can be like, what the fuck are you doing? You know?
Yeah, I get it. But all right.
Yeah.
Well, I think that about does it.
Yeah. That was thank you everybody for listening. We'll end the episode here. If you're listening, make sure to give us a follow, a like, subscribe, leave a comment for the Film Bible study segment. For just comment a number 1 through or 23 through like 1,000. And follow us on
comment any fucking number.
Yeah, we're at Box Office Dynasty on everything. Instagram, I can't think of anything else. Instagram, TikTok, Spotify, Apple Music, Amazon Music now, YouTube.
Share with your friends, fellow film lovers. Get the word out there. We're always looking for the support, and we appreciate those who do support us already. Keep on listening. Keep on watching.
Yeah. Any final remarks?
Your mac and cheese take still sucks.
Mac and cheese is disgusting.
That's my final remark.
I'll stand by that. Okay. Goodbye, everybody.
Yeah, that's fucking gross. Goodbye.